Yo, Matt Cypher, what's up? What's up, YouTube? There's a lot of people. It begins, yup. Let me know if the music I gotta figure out if the music is too loud all the time at the beginning of the stream. Let me know if the music is audible / not blaring and like my I feel like the first 5 minutes is always like technical check. No way, homie. Homie Seal, when you Google One Piece Vodka Kingdom, Rashomon Kingdom pops up first? That has to be because of my video. It feels too quiet. All right, yeah, I'll raise it up just a little bit. All right, here that should be ambient sounds. Dude, look in the Discord. Yo, the Discord, there's so much to look at. What am I looking at right now? I wasn't able to keep up with my Discord because there's a lot of things going on. All right, sounds perfect. That's good. All right. So let's get the. Oh, it's 3 minutes in. I'm a little late. All right. We got the attire for today. This is it's interesting. Oh wow, my the voice of all things is a little big. It's a little big. There we go. Looking dapper. Yeah, it's cuz we're scholars today. That's why. The Harvard lecture. That's what I'm talking about. Ukraine just won Eurovision? Dang. Hey, I got YouTube notification 2 minutes before Twitch for you streaming. Yeah, I like the way YouTube just like notifies that. I like setting it up now. So looking good, yeah. It's cause okay. So I gotta get good at doing the intro because like I've been on like Randy Troy with like BDA. They all have like that intro thing. So like I gotta figure out what I'm gonna say. We're still in the development phases of everything, you know. So the you should make more face cam. You know what I was actually thinking. My predictions video. I'm going to be doing like kind of like majority face, not majority, but like so like it's gonna be me and then like the panels next to me. I think that's what I'm gonna do for the predictions video. That way it's faster for me to get it out. But yeah, okay. So the way I wanted to start it out, and I gotta get comfortable with it, is I'd intro, and so maybe this is how I do like what's it called, like a podcast start to it. It'd be like welcome to the voice, or no, not welcome to, it'd be like thank you for listening to the voice of all things with your host Parvision. I think that sounds pretty. I like that, because we're listening to the voice of all things. And the way, so I said I would explain it in the video, but essentially it's like, between Ohara and the Rogers Pirates, Ohara like studied everything, and then they came up with their hypothesis of what the Void Century was and what the history was. And then the Rogers Pirates, they went through and looked at the whole world, and they listened to the voice of all things, and then they came up with the true history of the world, right? So we're kind of in between there, right? Like we don't have, I mean, we could say we have the Ohara intellect, but we don't have the poneglyphs. And then we're gonna be trying to listen to the voice of all things, which is like you guys, which is me. We're the voice of all things, the story, and then we're gonna come up with the theories here. Ayo, rocking the professor glasses, yeah. Are you sure about panels? Remember the disaster, Toei trying to shut down the channel? Yeah, so I'm gonna like, I think right now I have to like look into it more, but I have, with the colorings, it's a lot easier when it's digitally colored because then I can alter it, and then it's like it's transformative. So right now, if you guys notice, for my current chapters things, I have somebody who's coloring them as fast as possible, and that way it's like it changes it a lot. And so I don't know, I'm gonna see what that does. Once I get like a notification, then I'll change things. Maybe I take things down, who knows. But that being said, I have to revamp a lot of my theories anyways, because like the elemental one, I made it how many months ago, and it's coming true right now, you know what I mean. Turkey Vinsmoke, hopefully I said your name right. What is this stream about? This stream is going to be us diving into the history of Wano. So you can see I started out like a preliminary thing, timeline of Wano, and I want this for a lot of reasons actually. I'm not sure if you saw my reactions video for 1049, but basically I was saying that there might be a world where Zoro could be a cross clan person. He could be he's the thing is in the manga it's made out to seem like he's from Shimotsuki village, but in the anime, and I want to hold the anime true here because I don't see why Oda would let the anime take liberties with Zoro's story in like episode 2 or 3. But Zoro wasn't from Shimotsuki village, he was from next door, like a next door village, and he traveled to Shimotsuki. So yeah, that was a really interesting thing. Looks like you put a lot of effort into that timeline. I mean, I didn't. I was supposed to, but then I was late with my video, and then so I just kind of put everything down from my brain into the thing. I just had to do some math. And then also Artur, Library of Ohara, he really great guy for anything One Piece reference. Like his resources are insane. But yeah, so right here he has like a look at this timeline. This is insane. I love, like, Artur he's awesome. He's an awesome guy. I wish I could talk to him more often, but the fact that he has this setup, look at this timeline. So the point, like, this is great, and I was going through it, and I have some questions about some different things, like where some of this information came from, and so I'm probably going to message him. But that being said, this isn't specific to Wano. I'm more interested specifically to Wano, and I think that that's really important because Wano seems like the center of all the stories, right? So if you could centralize the timeline on Wano, you might be able to find like other pathways to theories, and it's really interesting if you look at it that perspective. So it's really hard to look at that timeline and pick out the Wano stuff. So that's kind of what we're trying to do here. So I'm gonna run through it at like in a little bit once I get through some of the chats, and then I'm kind of gonna like ask you guys if you guys remember anything, and I'm kind of like gonna try and remember if there's things to add. So that it, you know, it's gonna be an interactive thing for sure. And then what's gonna happen is, you know, we can set aside like the established story of the timeline, right? And then we're going to try and figure out like certain things that we can extrapolate from those data points, and then create theories or think about things and possibilities. And so at 9 o'clock, I'm going to be, this is another aspect. This is the first time we're doing it, but this ties back to Ohara, right? So in Ohara, when Professor Clover, he literally said like, I want to tell the Gorosei my hypothesis, right? So because his hypothesis was so insane, well, he got shot, but then also he got buster called, right? So basically the way I'm thinking about it is like, when there's an insane theory, you got to buster call it. So essentially at the end of the Voice of All Things, or sometimes on the stream, I'll be buster calling other creators, or we'll just call it a Buster Call segment if I'm going to be talking about a specific theory of mine. Well, Buster Call that, and it'll be an interesting thing. But that being said, I have someone coming on, and it'll be a little bit surprised, but we'll be talking about the timeline and some of the things that we talked about yesterday, actually. So it'll be exciting for sure. So let me get through some of the chats you guys added me. And also, if I miss your chats, I'll be looking at the usually what happens is I get lost in the chats and it piles on and I'm super far back. But what I'm gonna try to do this time and for these things, I'm gonna stay current with the chats. But before I talk to my guest and before we switch over to the watch party, I'll go through all the super chats or donations. So if you guys have that, then at the end of every hour, like 15 minutes, I'll go through all the super chats, maybe even more, depending on if there's any of that. But I'm going to try and keep it current with the chat, because every time the chat goes wild and then I'm reading like 15 minutes ago chats and then I end up getting lost. So we're going to try doing it that way this time. So our tour timeline is only up to start of Wano, so there isn't much. Yes. And Homie Seal, that's actually because like I'm going to be doing this and updating it, and then maybe Artur and me become homies over it, you know, like sly cool networking, like, hey Artur, look at what I made. Like, can I help you, you know what I mean? Imagine getting more subs. Yeah, that'd be nice. I'm not like the numbers going up, great, you know. As long as I like the interactions, like when I see the comments numbers go up on my videos, I love looking at the comments. I love talking to everybody. The Discord thing, I think you mentioned actually in my Discord, like, how do we only have 200 people? Honestly, that's a lot of people, all things considered, in my opinion. But like those are my stats, the stats that I care about, how many people I'm interacting with. God, I wish there was this Tish. Yeah, that'd be nice. You have some streaming ideas. Thank you. Let's see. I think he was in. What is Buster calling it? Buster calling is essentially like a dope theory. Like, we're gonna be Buster calling dope theories, because that's what happens essentially. If you're figuring out the truth of the One Piece world, you might get Buster called, right? That was the first Buster call. Fits him to a T, considering a pound on Shimonsuke Village out of nowhere, looking like someone's Wano super sus. Yeah, there's so many things. Like Higurashi is just like okay, that's honestly like the huge spark. If you guys watch my video, the 1049 video, it's like that year that she talked to Kaido was the same year that Orochi became Shogun, and she was telling him about her plan. So that means Higurashi was somehow with Kaido off of Wano and on Wano telling Orochi what his stuff was, and it's kind of crazy. I can't even imagine 200 physical people. Yeah, that's I know some personal friends of mine, their graduating class for high school was less than 30 people. So that's kind of it. I mean, my graduating class was like 2,000 people. So it's a lot. Imagine Parvision speaking in an actual concert hall about Wano history. Yo, that'd be wild. I like this thematic though. It's kind of, like the library. If it wasn't so hot, I need a like a more temperate attire, but I like the drip. Also, an interesting idea that mentioned in SBS is that Kozuba left Wano for East around the time of the daimyo poisoning thing. Yes, don't know if you added. Okay, so let's okay, it's 8:15. Wow, we're on schedule. Whew. Look at me keeping track of time. Okay, so let's get started with this history of Wano thing. The first thing that I actually want to talk about, my high school classes are at 90s small school. Yeah, so it does a lot of different things, right? So even like right now, we have 42 and on, I don't know how many on Twitch, but that's 40 plus people. That's like 3 classrooms. That's pretty dope. It'd be weird that Kaido killed Higurashi if she pushed him to. Yeah. Higurashi's so interesting. Okay, yeah, I was linked to share. There was a link. Oh, okay. Here, let me zoom in. Does that help? Hopefully that helps. Thank you for pointing out. I was supposed to zoom in. So brief history of Wano. Actually, should I say brief? It's kind of an expansive history of Wano. Whatever. So this originally, the template was for volleyball. So, we just made it Wano. Parvision, Voice of All Things, episode 2. So I put that out. Yep, it's 8:15 p.m. for me. Ooh, thank you. 49:20. Yeah, that's a lot of people. Power Vision with the drip today. Yeah. Okay. So let's start the Wano segment. Not so brief history. Yeah. Imagine she had to be killed because her devil fruit got passed over, which we also don't know about. Hey, Time Lord with the bits. That helped. Thanks. Hey, I got you. Okay. So before we get started, actually, Artur put this, and I'm gonna message him about this. So I don't know if you guys can see this, but so he has the Void Sentry, right? And then somehow, for some reason, he has like all the way back to like, Kain Reki calendar, year 0 of the Kain Reki like, where is that from? It says Kain Reki who's the Kain Reki? Do you guys know who Kain Reki is? Because I have no idea who that is. Okay, so that's weird. But and then so there's all these different things. I know most of them, but then he said the second or third thing. He says somewhere a planet is born. Okay, cool. Life is born on the planet. All right, we get that, right? Millions of years ago. Okay, humans appear. Blah 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 blah. Age of dinosaurs begin. Like, where is this information coming from? Waters supposedly flood the entire planet, leaving only the red line and a few islands remaining inhabitable. Here, I'll give you guys a link for the Library of Artur's Library of Ohara thing if you guys want to see this. But yeah, so I didn't know that this was an established thing, like in the verse. The waters supposedly flood the entire planet. And so I'm curious to know where he got that info, because I haven't come across that at all. And that being said, this is one for my Void Sentry thing. I have an explanation for how this, kind of happens, but his queen said dinosaurs used to. Yeah, so I know that part, right? The age of the dinosaurs. Also, interesting enough, Zeph refers to the age of dinosaurs also. So very interesting. There's a lot of speculation on that timeline. So yeah, I'm gonna ask Artur if this is an SBS, because and that's something that I feel like would be really helpful. I know it's so hard already to make something so expansive like this, right? But the other reason why I discovered this is because I want to know what year we were in, and apparently we're in year 1524. Also, did you guys know this? Did you guys? Yeah, I need to take a year off of work to go through this too. When I saw this, my jaw dropped. My jaw like, whoosh. But like, apparently, since from the beginning of the series to Alabasta, Oda kept consistent with the moon cycles of like he had the new moon, he had the moon cycles consistent, and Artur tracked it all the way up to Alabasta. Apparently, the moon cycles were being tracked. Like that's kind of wild, right? Like, kind of crazy. But yeah, so we're in the year 1524 in the current timeline, 1524. So I needed that. Lately, Oda's not he's not consistent with moon cycles, but that's for even okay. So Alabasta's like episode 150 or something. Apparently, throughout Alabasta, like, so from I guess for the first 200 chapters, he kept the moon cycle in the thing. That's, I don't know. That's next level. But like, that just goes to show how much detail he puts into the story. How do you do that? I don't know anybody who's writing a story and like, hey, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna track the lunar cycle and like the zodiac, like the signs and shit, and put it in the story. That's some craziness. But yeah, okay, so going back to this thing, right? Age of Sea Circle is the Kain Reki calendar, and Giant uses Noland. Okay, so I really have to go back to the Noland thing. It's weird how the Dino Zones reference existing in the long ancient past, even though they exist today. Yeah, it's really interesting. So oh, you know what I just realized? The age of dinosaurs. Wait, hold on. Does it say whenever the dinosaurs ended? Because for the ancient Zoans to have been created, that means the lineage factors from these dinosaurs were extracted, which means the dinosaurs, the devil fruits either existed during that time or before, or the dinosaurs survived for a very long time. Interesting. Only other place I've seen that level of detail is Lord of the Rings. That is true. Lord of the Rings was pretty detailed too. Damn. But I need to keep track of Lord of the Rings, like how the author. Yeah, I heard that they have like the whole like they have like the village in New Zealand, like where you can go and it's like actually Lord of the Rings. But besides the fact, okay, let's see. Stop. Yeah, I wonder why he did stop the moon thing. Interesting. It's probably so hard to track, but like, also, like, if he started it, then why would he stop? Did something in Alabasta happen that made it so that the tracking the moon was too hard? Ooh. This is Shire. Oh, yeah, they did. Oh, they had the dinosaurs at Little Garden. You guys are right. Okay, BTG, I see that. Okay. Huh. Maybe they use fossils to distract. Damn, that's some crazy science. They're actually Jurassic Park level stuff. Okay. So we talked about that thing. I think it's just interesting. I gotta ask if you guys know where, if there's any SBS where Oda said that the planet was flooded. Like Oda said that. I'd be really interested. That would help for my Void Century video. Because if it already flooded, then maybe my idea makes more sense, which is, it's interesting. And then what's also interesting was that he also said flood the entire planet, leaving only the red line and a few islands remaining inhabitable, which is interesting because the red line existed then. So that means this has to be like an SPS. Huh. Yeah, let me know if you guys find that. Otherwise, I'm going to message Artur. Isn't directly listed in the source list for the timeline. Yeah, homie Seal, it's just interesting that the details were there, right? Like that the red line and a few, I don't think Artur's the one to be like adding like that kind of detail if it's just like extrapolated, you know what I mean? Yeah, I'll message Artur. If you guys can't find it, I'll message him. Never heard about the, yeah, me neither. I would say your name, but I think the first part is not appropriate in English or in Spanish. I'll call you Calvo. Maybe that's a good word. Yeah, I've never heard of it either, so it'll be interesting. But anyways, with the Wano timeline, okay, here we go. So pre-Void, we know that Zunisha existed 800 years ago, right? But that means that Zunisha had to be born in the pre-Void time. So Zunisha was born, and then that also kind of insinuates the Minks were also on Zunisha. We don't know exactly when or how Zunisha and the Minks kind of like created their partnership, their symbiotic relationship. You know what I mean? So that's an interesting thing. And then that's also important to the Wano timeline because Minks and what is the extraction thing is coming from wait fruit when you say or of invisible fruit? Extraction? What extraction thing? Wait fruit. I'm not sure what the extraction thing is referring to. But yeah, so the Minks and Kozuki, they were brothers, right? It was said that if either clan or either groups were in trouble, they would rush to each other's side, right? So that already just sounds like there's some kind of like connection with Kozuki and Zunisha too, right? It wouldn't make sense if the Minks were on Zunisha and the Kozuki were brothers with the Minks, but then just didn't know anything about Zunisha, right? Zunisha is 1,000 years old. So it said it's, I think when we were introduced to Zunisha, it was kind of like they don't know, but they were like it survived over a millennia. So they were kind of like, you know, it was kind of said in that way, and I think Law said it. But you can, if it specifically says Zunisha is 1,000 years old, that would change things for sure. I don't know if it was specific about how old Zunisha was. It's not the lineage. Obviously, that wouldn't necessarily have to apply to. So Dev Rolla. Okay. Now I'm understanding. Where's the extraction thing coming from for a wait fruit? Well, let's say invisible fruit. Okay, got it. So actually, to clarify, in the recent SBS, I think it's for 99 or 101. I think one of those. It might have been 99. It might have been a little earlier. But Oda actually said, here, let me see if I could pull it up. Oda's, Artur Library. I know he has it. I looked at it. So Oda actually said that all devil fruits, Paramecias and Logias, also have lineage factors involved, which is crazy, right? It like the way he said it, you can imply that there's lineage factors involved. Let me try to pull it up. It should be recent one. It's in 98. I need to have better memory when it comes to the SBSs. Why do I feel like it's 96 then? I just looked at this. It wouldn't be 96. Would it? Okay, I can't pull it up now. Maybe I have it in one of my videos, but he did say that. So let me get back to the chat. Yo, that One Piece talk. Heard you got mentioned on Morge's stream. Keep prospering and becoming the greatness that you are. Much love, that One Piece talk, boys. Hey, yeah, he did. He gave me a real. I just was trying to get my question answered, and then he recognized my name, and I was like, I was not expecting that. That was awesome. You know, I really appreciate it. He's a super nice guy. Definitely a really good first impression. Thank you guys for coming through. Thank you for the super chat. Okay. Oh shit. What if the world flooded because of a cleansing? Because there was a cleansing before the world made this way. So the thing is, the world government didn't exist back then for the cleansing, right? This link might be for the history stuff. Ooh. Okay, thank you for that. I'll click on that. Let me read some chats. But did anyone notice how the mayor was? Yes. Those things are, glad he answered your question too. Yeah. So yeah, Water 7 is a huge thing to look at, like, because they're preparing for the world to be flooded. What's the chance that Higurashi is not the real Higurashi? Yeah, Higurashi, we need to figure out Higurashi's plan, like, or what she's so interesting. How could there be lineage for time? Doesn't make sense. So the way I'm understanding it is, and we don't know for Toki is specific, but like, think about it like this. Okay, so Kizaru, right? Somehow Vegapunk put the laser into the pacifista, right? He put the energy, the light fruit, right, into that. In a way, he had to have extracted that from Kizaru, right? So that already kind of tells you that there's a way to get that part from a person or the devil fruit or whatever. It's kind of interesting, but another way to look at it is that the mythical Zoans, right? The mythical Zoans, let's look at not necessarily Kaido. We could look at Kaido, but it's still debatable. Let's look at Yamato's fruit. Yamato's fruit allows her to turn into a wolf, but then she also has ice powers. So then is it a world where that ice power could be extracted separately and that would create a separate fruit on its own? Is that where Aokiji and the other ones come from? Like, it's kind of weird. Is it the chicken or the egg? Like, maybe this mythical creature existed, and so parts of this mythical creature created like the mythical Zoan fruit, and then the other parts of it, because that's what we're seeing with the mythical Zoans, right? And it also kind of makes it feel like there's these all of these things existed. That's what Odo is saying in that SBS. I wish I could remember which one it was. Yo, Maxo Tunes, what's up? Here, let me look at that link Matt Cypher sent. So 2 calendar systems are I can pull this up here actually. Okay. Age of Heaven, Age of Circle. Ooh, okay. Oh, this will actually be okay. So I'm assuming Artur used a lot of this too. Okay. Who makes the wiki page, by the way? Do any of you guys make the wiki page? Because if you do, can you tell me? Because like the moon people from Another Story can make such things. The cover story, the moon. Wait, what can they make? The devil fruits? Hey, homie Seal, that's kind of the value of the Discord, right? Like that's that channel I made. All the valuable SBSs we could just control find in that thing. That's kind of the point of it. Oh, do I have it in? Wait, hold on. Maybe I already posted it. This is why we gotta clean up this thing so it's. Oh wait. Oh no, I didn't. No, I didn't. I need to. Okay. They're tech. Yeah. So. Okay. We're not gonna talk about Nell's thingy because that gets into something I want to talk about later. And so if I start talking about it, then I'm gonna leak one of my most important videos. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Havenly. I'm gonna say Havenly. Havenly Demon. I see you. What would be the lineage of Robin's root? Well, so have you seen my Robin mythical Zoan video? Because her thing, she might be a mythical Zoan. It just makes a lot of sense. She might be a human fruit. I won't go into details on that because the video explains it, but definitely would watch that. You can do that. Ooh, I need to use that, homie Seal, the edit history for the wiki at some point in the. Nell's thingy. Okay. Tequila Wolf, giant bridge, maybe over a flood. Oh yeah, in preparation. Okay. So okay. Let's get back on focus. Let's focus again. 8:30. Okay, so that means 30 more minutes, and then we bring into the guest. So let's get talking about the Wano timeline. Okay, so we have that. We have the Zunisha thing, right? Then we have the Void Century. Obviously there's like some things to fill in the gaps here because like either we're gonna get this history from the Wano arc of what the Kozuki did, because the Kozuki definitely existed in the Void Century, and like, you know, they had to be before, they had to be after. There's so many interesting things. And then Sky Island, right, Jaya, they had a poneglyph. So the way Artur explained it was that, and this kind of makes sense, the poneglyphs were given to all the allied nations of the ancient kingdom, right? So that means that the Kozuki, Alabasta, Jaya, the Shandorans, Fishman Island, all of these places, they all were probably connected to Kozuki, but then the ancient kingdom, which means Kozuki in the ancient kingdom, right? So that's in the Void Century. We know Toki. Oh, we should also put down that Toki was born in the Toki-born. Toki was born. Okay, so we know that the poneglyphs were created probably during the Void Century, right? Is Zo on? So that we don't know, Maxo Tunes. I'm assuming the Minks were probably there before. Jin reappeared? Wait, when did Jin? You're talking about the guy from Baratier? Where did he reappear? Yes, there's people in the lineage factor of Wash root would be real head scratcher though. It is, but it isn't. It is, but it isn't, because Oda said that the wash fruit was tied to soul cleansing. So that means that it's kind of like that's probably the core of the power, cleansing people's soul, making them good. Why does 600 mark the start of the Void Century? So I think I went by, I thought it was if our current time is 1524, so gold, the story technically starts with Roger in the 1500, that's when he died. So minus 800, you would go 700, right? So you'd think that the Void Century would start then, but that's when the history started. So 900 years ago is when the Void Century started, and I think we know that because the Tontada, they said that they have history 900 years and prior, so that puts us at 600. So 600 is when the Void Century started. So the Void Century lasts 100 years. The end of the Void Century is probably when the poneglyphs started getting shipped out, essentially. Or, like, it's weird. Were they built where they were? Or were they built on Wano? Or where were they built? And we're going to get to that question in a second. But, so, in between then, if you guys know anything in between end of Void Century and Ors, I don't think there's much there. But Ors was around the year 1000. Ors was, we don't know when he was born, but we know that that's around when he died. And he was put in the, or he was frozen. So... and the reason why I mention him is because the continent pillar, and again, that might tie back to something that I just said about the Void Century. Yes, Jeremy. Yep, exactly. So I tie all three using the logic for Chopper and now Nika. It makes sense with Robin. There's a really interesting parallel between all three of them and their fruits. We could show them with other stuff too. I know you guys are on my list of trolls. I mean, Vodka Country. No, so I think Vodka Country is actually now Rashwan Kingdom because of the beer thing. Frankie's a cyborg. Very interestingly, means to be human. Yep. If a robot is that important, why the Marines didn't hunt it? Yeah, it's really interesting. If you haven't checked the talks about the Ors thing, I will definitely check that out. Send that link in the other, if it's not already there, in the others creators in my thing in my Discord. Good and evil opinions. The one cleanse what you deem bad from the person or what it deems bad. Ooh, that's an interesting point. Time Lord. Not sure. But yeah, so in between here and there, we know that Ors existed and he was named the Continent Pillar. And it's really interesting because it's like that kind of has to like be a reason. I just this stream's killing my phone battery. I'm 16:30 in half an hour. Sorry to hear that, bro. Yeah, it's very interesting why the road poneglyphs ended up where. It's interesting because it's like, where did Big Mom get her road poneglyph, right? Because she has one. Wait, she has one? Yeah, she has one. And Wano has one. That doesn't mean Kaido had it, but Wano having one makes sense, right? Wano has one. Fishman Island had one. Zunisha had one. Those three make sense. Where did Big Mom's... Wait. Yeah, where did Big Mom get hers, right? Because that doesn't make sense. Yeah, the missing one is Fishman Island, but Big Mom having a road poneglyph was that with her? Like, was that like on the island already? I wonder what Whole Cake Island territory was before. Oh, that's true. It's crazy that you guys are talking about this being the voice of all things. It's definitely one of the... Yeah, it gets over. That's why I named this thing the voice of all things. We need this. Elbaf, she got. I don't think she got it from Elbaf because she was exiled, and I think she's afraid of going there. Where is Kaido's road poneglyph? We don't know, but it's supposed to be on Wano. Pretty clear that Strassen just converted the land to food. Did he make the castle though, or was it there and then he just like turned? I have to double check how his fruit works. But okay. So moving on with the history, we don't know when Ryuma was, like when he existed. It almost doesn't make sense if Ryuma was in Void Century, because like all the history is lost, but we know about Ryuma. And do we know about it because Wano is isolated? Like, it's kind of interesting, right? So it kind of makes it feel like Ryuma is after the Void Century. But they were saying that at a certain point they were invaded constantly, and Ryuma defended the country of Wano. It was known as the Land of Gold, but because Ryuma like defended it so valiantly, the world came to know Wano as this power source that should be feared because he was so powerful, right? So basically Ryuma is the reason why the world fears Wano, essentially, right? And so that being said, that part, right? Because it's like Wano closed itself off. That means that Ryuma was before it closed itself off, or was he defending it and he's part of the reason they closed it off? Like, it's kind of weird. I think its isolation could be both though. Ryuma should be post-void because he opposed the world government. Do we know that he opposed the world government? I don't know if he opposed the world government. That was a theory that I put in my one of my videos, that he might have fought the originator of Kaido's fruit, the dragon, celestial dragon, the dragons. I think that either Shanks has it or Whitebeard hadn't hacked away. That would be interesting. I don't know if Whitebeard would have it. I don't think he necessarily cared. The timeline is fire. Hey, thank you. It's in the pre-phases. Ryuma lived 400 years ago. I don't know if that's confirmed about the 400 years ago. I need to sleep. Hey, sorry I can't be streaming on your in the time zone that's convenient for you, but thank you for coming through. I thought he died 200 years ago. Can't cite the source. Yeah, we don't know when Ryuma existed. I wouldn't be... Oh, DPDC. Hey, I wouldn't be surprised if Vodka Kingdom got excluded from the world government after Kaido escaped. They did pay the tribute, but the payment escaped. What else do they have to pay up? Yeah, it's interesting. If it'd be interesting if they dropped out, but it would also be interesting if they stayed, and then we could kind of figure out like where they are. It'd be really interesting. Ryuma's 400 years is confirmed. Sources SBS. Really? Okay, Real Raymond. Do you know what SBS it's in? Because I would love to know. SBS Ryuma 400 years Oda. Let's see. On a brief search, I can't find it, but if you guys find it, let me know. I'm gonna put that note down though. Okay, yeah, let me know. 400 years. Perfect. Oh, that's not 400. That's also not 400. Okay. Wano means land of harmony, which old Japan referred to. Yes. And I have in my predictions video, I have a context for that harmony thing, because it makes a lot of sense when you kind of it just makes... Okay, I mean, this isn't in the predictions video necessarily, but it might be in the Void Century video, but and it ties back to the continent pillar thing. It just makes sense to me that Wano was the oasis for everybody. Dude so thorough was like dope. What's the number? My eyes need to see it. Yeah, we need this source needs to be foolproof. I need this Wano thing. It's SBS volume 447. Wait, I'm on that. Am I on that? Yeah, I'm on that. Hold on. Ryuma. Okay, let me... Wait, I don't see it. 400. and the fact that Pangea Castle is on Marriagewa. Yup. Marco Polo called Japan Zipangu, meaning the land of gold. Ooh. It says 400. Don't. Wait, Real Raymond, which SBS? I want to know how they can separate. So okay, so we'll figure out the 400 thing or the mountain. We'll figure out the Ryuma thing, but we just know that it's somewhere in between, right? So now let's skip ahead, and I really want to fill in the gaps between the end of Void Century and here. So the next thing that we don't know is Odin's grandfather and Orochi's grandfather. There was a power struggle because Odin's grandfather couldn't have a kid. And so because all the clans were wanting to become shogun, right? They wanted to get the power. And so the Kurozumi started poisoning all the daimyo, right? And then Odin's grandfather had Sukiyaki, which then ended the power struggle because then we have the heir, right? Nolan's flashback was given a date, I'm pretty sure. So I'm not including Nolan in this thing. I know our tour probably has it, but I'm not including Nolan here because I don't have a reason to necessarily tie to Wano specifically, because this is specific for Wano. I'll find that. Okay, got you. Void Century is 900 to 800 years ago. So we're in the year 15. Well, Roger died in the year 1500. That's when the story starts. So you go 900 to 800 years before 1500, and that takes you to 600 to 700. Kurozumi clan were originally you know, that's what we're here to figure out, right? Okay, so the Kurozumi Hunt was before Odin was born, and while essentially Sukiyaki was born. So that means that all of Sukiyaki's life, the Kurozumi were essentially hunted. We don't know, like, essentially when or how, but Orochi was born. Orochi's younger than Odin, I believe. And so Orochi was born after Odin, I believe. I think he's younger. And so what's interesting that is that he is I think like in his teenage years, we saw that he was hunted by what's it called? Like people, his mom, like in the thing, or his relatives are being hunted. So it's really interesting, but we don't know when it started, when it ended. We just know that there was a Kurozumi Hunt before Sukiyaki was born, lasting until Orochi was like in his teenage years. SBS Volume 47, he's not just a real story, but a real hero. 400 years ago in Wano, defied pirates who wanted... Wait, I was just on that SBS 47. Because I don't see the 400 years. Let me go to monsters, actually. Because that, you know, might... No, I don't see it. I see the quote, the question referencing Ryuma, but I don't see the 400 years discussed there. Ryuma One Piece Magazine 6 itself even slayed a dragon with a single sword. Huh. I'm going to have to put a pin in that because I have the thing and I can't find it. How do you have the dates down? What do you mean, how do I have the dates down? The years? Math. I had to math it out. Okay, so here we have like 10 minutes before I want to bring Mosh into the thing, but I just leaked to the Buster Calls. But that being said, I want to get this out. Maybe we go a little bit further into talking about it. But 1465, that's 59 years ago from current timeline. That's when Odin was born. That's significant. 1483, that puts Odin at 18. So that's also the year God Valley happened. So Odin was 18 when God Valley happened. That's significant because 9 years later, Odin restores Kuri, or whatever, however you pronounce it. Sukiyaki gains respect for Odin, and that's the last time Odin spoke with his dad. Checking 47, no Ryuma Day is mentioned. That's what I see to Intrusion. But yeah, okay, so what also happens in 1492 isn't that when Columbus sailed and discovered, or is that 14 something? 1490. Why is 1492? Why do I feel I was indoctrinated to think that Columbus discovered the Americas in 1492? That was the year, right? But besides that, okay, so Whitebeard lands on Wano in 1492. Odin also meets Toki later that year. Okay, so that's significant. Now that's significant because Toki, that means Toki, this is the earliest we know of Toki, but Toki was jumping all throughout this timeline. We don't know when and where or how, but Toki was jumping since the Void Century, and she landed, what, 800 years, like 1492 Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Yeah, I was in yep, that's what I'm saying. Yep, he did in 1490. So did Odin choose 1492 specifically because of, it's just interesting that date comes up, or that year. But yeah, so Toki is Odin, is Whitebeard supposed to be nah, he's not Columbus. But Odin meets Toki. Toki is not on Wano. Important. 1493, Orochi becomes Shogun. Here, let me see. Okay, perfect. Here. Okay, so now to go through some of this. 1493. So a year, Odin leaves Wano. Oh, I should put that. Odin leaves Wano. Okay, he leaves Wano. 1493, Orochi becomes Shogun. And according to the last flashback in 1049, Higurashi also proposes the idea to Kaido in that same year, 31 years ago. These things happen in the exact same year. So that kind of implies that Higurashi was on Wano talking to Orochi and off of Wano talking to Kaido. Which is like, how did she do that? How is she just going off and on Wano? And she also said to Orochi that she spent a lot of time off of Wano. Like, she wasn't on Wano prior to that year or something like that. So it's really interesting. Also, I don't know if we're given her age. I would be really interested in her age. Yeah, the year he discovered, a bunch of people already discovered. Yeah, exactly. That's why I say indoctrinated, to know that Columbus discovered the Americas then, right? The Ryuma info is in One Piece Magazine 6. I'll note that down and check it out off stream. I do know, according to Artur, and don't quote me on this, I think he said that the magazines are not canon. Or if they are, they have canon elements, but not all of it should be held to be canon. I think he said something like that. It's made by a separate editing team or something like that. Python Dog, you're gonna sleep. Thanks for coming through. Hope you appreciated the drip. I hope you appreciated listening to the voice of all things. Even for the hour. I'm gonna put that down to check though. Another thing I'll run by Artur, but essentially Artur, you know, being the library of Ohara, is a great resource. There's a little story of Wano outside of Wano. Fujitora and Sentomaru are probably from Wano, or descendants of people from Wano, right? So then continuing on, right? That was 1493. A year later, so this is the second year of Odin's travel with Whitebeard, Momo is born. 1494. So there's more of the travel here, and I was in the middle of getting those things, but they're not like super important. But we know 1499, Roger finds Laughtail. We know that. Odin's with him. Sometime in between, Odin goes back to Wano. 1500, this is the beginning of the story. 1500, Roger is executed, right? We know 1501, Moria is on Wano. That's when he steals the corpses, specifically Ryuma's corpse, and Wano steals Shusui. Or not Wano. Wait, Moria goes to Wano to steal Shusui. I don't know why I said Wano steals Shusui. So we know that 23 years before the story, before current time, Moria took the Shusui off of it, off of Wano, and so according to the people there on Wano, the Shusui was guarding Wano that entire time, and in its absence is what brought the downfall, because they lost their protector. So it's really interesting, and I'm curious to know if there's anything in 1502, but I don't think I saw, off the top of my head, I don't think there's anything there. Toki could have died, given Roger her fruit, so Roger could have traveled 20 years in the future. Yeah, I was thinking that. Why didn't she send him to the future? But he didn't go into Wano after dropping Odin off, right? I feel like, also Odin found out about her powers after he came back to Wano. He knew about it, but he also like didn't like fully understand it, I think, because it was divulged to us after Odin came back. Because like she told him like, oh, I'm from 800 years ago, but I don't think anyone really believed her. But like then later on, Odin was like, oh yeah, she has the power or whatever. Right before he died. I feel like 10 to 15 years from now, people are going to be referring to Parvision timelines, and I'll feel like, yeah, I was there. Yeah, that's what's going to be fun, right? The voice of all things. We don't know how many. I like, that's kind of what it is. I want to create resources for the community. I like Artur is doing an amazing thing, and I feel like some of the things, like the niche things that I'm thinking about, it'd be so awesome if there's a resource that we could just go back and find out. I'm gonna put the image. Oh, thank you for that, Real Raymond. Please do that. Gotta rewind to the start of the stream and missed out. Hey, you can stay here in current time and then, you know, watch back in the VODs, but you know, it was an exciting start of the stream. Was dying and travel, yeah. And I think Roger Loki died because, you know, yeah. I also, you know, I have that video too. He lost the will to live. In a way, we don't know exactly, but so to finish off what I have in the timeline right now, 1504, Odin dies. Momo and the Scabbards are sent to the future, and Toki also dies. I put quotes because Toki might show up, and I didn't put the video out, but it's in the predictions video. We'll talk about that then. And so that takes us to 1524, current Wano, and the Onigashima raid. And so there's gonna be history that adds later, or is added later, and then there's obviously the history in between the 20 years. Time Lord, thank you for the bits. I find it interesting that certain people have quirks related to their fruit. Toki is me, and Whitebeard's laughs after the Gura, his fruit. Kaido's laugh the Ua as well, which means fish is super important. Yeah, I think there is a connection there for sure. Someone was bringing out the Shishi thing with Luffy too in my last stream. I forgot exactly. It's like when you laugh with your mouth closed or something. It's interesting. I'm posting again. When Toki initially time traveled and fell into the water, assuming she couldn't move, that would be so in fiction, they don't usually do that with time travel. It'd be interesting if Oda did that, but when we do know that that's not exactly how her powers work, because if that were the logic, then when Momo was sent to the future, he wouldn't have appeared where he was, where they appeared on their graves 20 years later. And that is exactly where the castle was. So in the One Piece verse, I don't think that's how the power works. So, crazy idea that could explain why the pirates from pre-times. That's true. That's true. That is a good. I do lean on that in some regards for sure, on why some people don't demonstrate their hockey and why, like Jinbei, for example, Jinbei didn't make sense for him to have Conquerors, but then in chapter 10:18, he has the Conquerors Black Lightning in his fight. So it's like he has Conquerors now. Why? Because now he's on Luffy's crew and he has a real like ambition besides like, you know, just trying to protect something. You know what I mean? Journal from the fire. That is true. That is true. I think Yamato got it. She ran to the castle and she found the journal. I think that's the story. Because she also tried to protect Momo. I think she said that. Like, she chased after the scabbards after Odin's execution, and then she got the journal there. I gotta double check that. So here, let me, so I talked about this before. And so here's the interesting thing. If there's two ways to think about it, right? We do know that Kozuki have ties across the world, right? Their poneglyphs are there. So it makes sense if people of Wano were spread throughout the world and they continue to live. That is an explanation, but there's an interesting thing there, because if that were the case, you would expect there to be more culture that was like passed on, like hints and bits of pieces of Wano culture embedded in other cultures, like Alabasta, for example, Fishman Island, Skypiea. Skypiea has it, but like these other ones, it'd be more of a stretch, I guess, where it's like Alabasta seems like it had its own history, right? The Tontaras had their own history, right? Very interesting, but there is that explanation. But another explanation was ores. Ores might have affected Wano in a way, and we don't know how, but Toki said that she knew her parents were from Wano. We knew that. But she somehow ended up on an island not too far from Wano, because Whitebeard was dragging Odin for 3 days, or was it 1 day? I think it was 3 days. He had to last for 72 hours holding onto things. So that means 3 days from Wano is the island that Toki was found on, right? And it's interesting because she's 3 days away from Wano by boat, and she wants to go to Wano, but she's not there yet, and she's been jumping for however many years trying to get to Wano. So it's very interesting. It's like, how did she get to that island? And it almost makes it feel like either that island's important, or maybe she got there like another way. But it's like, why was she not on Wano in the first place? It seems like she wasn't on Wano in the first place, and it's really confusing about that. Toki was already adventuring. She didn't just appear on that island. But young Gambino, but it's still understood, right? She wants to get to Wano, and Toki is from the Void Century, and she has she's a descendant of people from Wano, but she's not on Wano. You know what I mean? Like, and she's searching for it. So it's really interesting, because it's like she's 800 years out, hasn't found Wano. She has the time fruit. You know what I mean? It's really interesting. Toki said she'd never been to Wano. Yeah, exactly, Groovy. She's never been to Wano. Which is like, how is she off of Wano? But and even Odin was like, your clothing, it reminds me of Wano. If she's been adventuring for that long, that means that her clothing at least is from like a group of people that dress just like Wano people, which is like, that's really interesting. She could have been far away. Yeah, that is true. That is true. She didn't have to be on the island. I didn't say that she jumped to that point, because I think she said that she appeared there to see Odin. I'm not sure. We gotta double check that. She's not trying to find the island of Wano. May not have existed either literally or in name at that point. So that's an interesting thing, because I think Wano did exist, right? Because like Because if she knew her parents were from Wano. I think that's the main thing, that Wano existed pre-Void Century. She kept jumping when she was in trouble, I'm pretty sure. I definitely have to reread her history of how she... And I think you're right, though. I think you're right. We are following Luffy's adventure, and his adventure continues from the culture. It's true. Think about the past, maybe all the ones like Wano, but then... So, Time Lord, then that would mean that Wano was like the center of the world, kind of. Like, they influenced everyone, which my Impel Down video kind of says that, right? It's interesting. It makes you, like, even, like, this is the whole point of making this timeline, right? Is, like, that point in itself is, like, that tells you that, like, Wano probably, like, we might be, if all of us went back and looked at these cultures and really picked at these things, like, maybe we do find a connection to more than just Skypiea of, like, Wano connections. You know what I mean? It's really interesting. Another example, and I said I wouldn't talk about it, but Anel's cover story, Dr. Tsukimi, Shimotsuki, Tsukimi, his name Tsukimi means Moon Watcher. Shimotsuki, all the clans of Wano were related to Moon. And then when you look at the island that he's on, it has a Japanese aesthetic. So it's really, really interesting. Nothing makes a story clear like a timeline. Yup. Either a same island or her waiting for the name to change over time. She was waiting for existence. Yeah. It's we need to figure out Toki. Chapter 1000, Yamato said she found it near the river of Odin's castle. Yamato said that... Oh! Okay, so I'll definitely go double check that. Yes! The Amatsuki is the only one where we didn't see the daimyo. You could write an analytical and speculative thesis on One Piece. Yes, I could. Yes, that is what the drip is for. That is what this seminar, the voice of all things, is here about. So now that we talked about that, right? What's interesting is this part right here. Did I put it down? Oh, I actually didn't transfer this. Mosh, I give me 1 second. Let me just add the timeline. 54 years ago. Puts it at the... Wait a moment. Wait, the same year that God Valley happened and Odin was... No. Oh, no, my math is not mathing. Okay, good. That was a little too crazy for me right there. Hold on, give me a second, because I have to add something here. So, and I am pretty noob to making... I just discovered this thing today. This timeline thing on Canva. We gotta move a lot of things down because... Oh, wait, I missed one. Gotta move that down there. We'll take this one. Boom. And then we edit this. So 5 years. So that means 1470. Kozuburo, Shimotsuki Kozuburo leaves Wano. Group of samurai form a pirate group. What else? Found Shimotsuki village. So, I feel like there's one other thing I want to say about that. We got to look at Koshiro and Kuina's birth. I'll add that because I think they're relevant. But, so what's interesting here is, why did he leave Wano? Right? Like, that's so weird. Why did Kozuburo leave Wano there? First of all, it was illegal to leave, right? That was a crime in itself. Leaving Wano was a crime. So he left, and a group of samurai left. Now, when we look at Wano, right? When we look at Wano, we have to ask ourselves, like current Wano, what group is missing, right? Now, the Kurozumi were hunted, but we also, like, were they all just exterminated, or was this a group of Kurozumi escaping? Essentially, like they were refugees. Essentially, they were escaping, and it was named like Kozuburo. And this is where it gets interesting because okay, hear me out. In the manga, it shows that Zoro shows up to Shimotsuki Village. It doesn't necessarily mean that he's born there. Now, in the anime, and I'm saying that this is canon because I don't see Oda giving the anime the liberties to change Zoro's backstory in episode 3, where Zoro comes from a neighboring village. What if the neighboring village was like Kurozumi or something like that? And I'm saying that because it might be that Zoro's heritage might be Kurozumi mixed with either Kozuki or Shimotsuki. It might be that he's a mixture of these clans. And that's why I think Oda specifically said Ushimaru is not his dad. And it's really interesting because then it's like, then who is his dad? Why don't we know his dad? And then we were given like the connection with, well, there's Hiyori, but then there's also like Toko. And it's like, why did they create these connections like that? And they were showing that Zoro had the heritage, like he resembled Shimotsuki Ryuma and Ushimaru, but Ushimaru is not his dad. So then it's like, why are we given this like empty plot line in this like situation? And so I was also thinking about this because it's like Toko, like, well, Randy Troy has a theory that that Tama is Kurozumi, but Toko might be Kurozumi too. And so it's really interesting because it's like, where are the parents for them? Why don't we know the parents? Where are these situations coming from? And why don't we know Zoro's backstory yet? Why is it so wild? I feel like we need to know more about the Kurozumi than we know, because there's this whole blank situation. And everyone's going with, like, not everyone, but a lot of people are going with the hair logic, right? Where it's like, you know, Tama and Toko are Kurozumi, or Tama's Kurozumi, the hair thing, that brings it into this perspective. Like Kanjuro had like the reddish pink hair, Orochi had the pink hair. I think Toko might be a better situation with the Kurozumi line, because Yasue is not her dad, and it's like that whole plot line where Orochi was about to kill Toko for smiling nonstop, even though he inflicted on them. It just seemed like perfect poetry, where it's like, yo, Orochi, that's your bloodline. You did that. You know what I mean? And it's like, it'd be crazy if Toko was actually Kurozumi and Orochi was about to do that, not knowing that that's his bloodline. I think Zoro is sent to current time by Toki. And so Matt Cypher, that's another thing where it's like, where do we draw the line of where Zoro's from, right? What does Roronoa mean? Did Oda hide something? So Roronoa seems like it's, I'm more in trying to figure out where Zoro came from. But Roronoa is inspired. There was a pirate or like a navy captain in real history called like Lolonoa or something like that. And essentially he was like a monster savage guy who like, he was like being executed or something. And like he apparently just like 1v20'd people and just was like this savage monster. And so apparently that's where like Roronoa comes from. I was gonna make a video about that actually, because Zoro, I think, comes from Zoroastrianism, the oldest belief system even before like Hinduism and Buddhism and that kind of stuff. So and Zoroastrianism, you know, has like a lot of things with threes and the realms and all that stuff. So blue and yellow makes green, yeah, for sure. It's really interesting because then who's like what is it? Which clan is would Zoro's parent be, right? But then again, if we're talking about green hair colors, Kozuki's already green, and Momo doesn't have green hair. Like, it's so weird. Toko's father is not Shimotsuki. Toko's Yasue is adoptive dad. But so that's kind of what I'm thinking about. And so again, if you guys are in my Discord, I'm gonna Buster call Mosh right now, because he has. So we're gonna talk about this other part of the timeline that I want to figure out, because it became relevant because 1049. But if you guys come up with other parts of Wano, let me know, because I'm gonna start adding it into the timeline, and maybe we revisit this in the next week's stream. But that being said, we're going to continue talking about Wano, and maybe we figure out more things through this conversation. But I'm going to call Mosh right now to start the conversation about something else in this timeline.
What it be? What it do? Realest man in the crew, my guy Par. How you going, my guy?
What's up, Mosh? How you doing? I'm good. I'm supposed to be I need to have sirens. I don't think Buster calls have like sirens, but like I need to have like a siren and be like wee woo wee woo wee woo.
This is a bunch of bombs and you just gotta start running. If you don't.
Yeah. I'll just have explosion sounds and then be like, welcome to the stream.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Hey, man. How's the stream going so far though?
It's good. I really like this. A lot of people like the drip. I don't know if you've seen the drip yet.
Hold on, chill, pimp. The glass is the best. The color scheme, I like it.
Yeah, we gotta have the scholarly vibes. You know what I mean? Like we're trying to figure out the history.
Actually, okay, I tapped in.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw something, and it said Odin was 18 during God Valley, and I was sitting there like trying to calculate everything. And I was like, this motherfucker was literally 18, like not because like 38 years ago, then 20 years ago from where we are currently. And I was like, hold on, he might have been. Damn, that's crazy to think about, but yeah,
and it's wild, because it's also like. When I look at these dates, it's crazy because like we don't appreciate Oda coming up with this coherent timeline behind the story, right?
Oh, like, yeah, for sure. Especially after chapter 1049, crazy.
Yeah. Well, let me go through this. Time Lord, thank you for the bits. Maybe during Toki's time, the clans were on completely different islands, and the clans came together as Wano once Ors the contemplated. Ooh, yeah, that could be it, right? That could be, but so. I was gonna say that the one part that doesn't line up with that, it was that Toki said her parents were from Wano, so that means a Wano had to have existed before the separate clans came together, right? And in Ors's timeline. So, and I'm not saying that Wano might have looked different. It might have looked maybe Wano was just the flower capital. Maybe that was.
So you gotta think about it too, because remember, Wano's known as the country of gold or city of gold. Can't remember correctly which one it is. I know Shandor is also one. But if that's the case, and Wano was moved, and this also implies that Onigashima was moved as well. We already kind of know that it was. But because each part of Wano has different like weather patterns, it almost like solidifies that yes, they're all from different parts of the world. And also we get the situation with Sakazuki and Fujitora and how they have some relation. Could be a situation that they're not physically from Wano, but a different place that's similar to Wano, and that part of their island or wherever they were was brought to where the current Wano is now.
Yeah, you know what the two places we have to look at Dressrosa and I think Alabasta to see if there's any like Wano like things there.
Oh, Alabasta, yes. Dressrosa, I'm not too sure.
Yeah, well, like Alabasta, I know about the thing, but like, is there anything like maybe we look through the ruins, and there's other things. It's interesting. Just the flower capital kind of. Yeah, Marsh. It might. I'm I'm not too sure. Like it's hard to say like what Wano could have looked like. But when you take, maybe another way to look at it is the clan names. Maybe the clan names, if like Alabasta, right? Maybe the which one was it? Uzuki. Uzuki is Rain Moon. Maybe Rain Moon was Alabasta.
You know what's crazy to think about? Yes, also because if we look at the cover story with I forgot the guy's name that was really close with Vivi, and then also that one priest, Gadetsu, I think his name was Gadetsu. That storyline where they find the hot spring. That's like
Oh
right near
yeah.
Almasa.
Yeah. Yeah, so okay, before we move on, the stream, this whole thing is still new, but so for everyone's here who's here, the person I'm talking to is Mosh. He's the guy who I Buster called. He's also like the first creator who shouted me out on TikTok. Actually, I wouldn't have been as big as fastly growing as I was without Mosh. And that being said, I think you caught like with the elemental theory, maybe even before that. Oh, actually no, I think it was my first video with the whip thing. But so Mosh is pretty big on TikTok, and I think in general, like when it comes to the chapter, like reactions and going through the chapter, he has the most concise and like best takes in my opinion, because a lot of times I'm like, ooh, like I read the chapter, I'm like, I came up with something hot, and then I write on my thing, I record it, and then that's usually when I go see other creators, so that like I don't like mix up my thoughts with other thoughts, and I see your thing and I'm like, god damn it, Mosh thought of the same thing. Like, but yeah, so if you guys are on TikTok, definitely check out Mosh DMC. So MOASH DMC. And like, yeah, definitely dope creator. I'll be and again, like I'm planning on getting a lot of guests onto the channel, and Mosh is probably going to be a regular for sure, because we talk all the time, or we try to, life gets in between.
We attempt to.
Yeah. But like anytime we do talk though, we get some crazy like it's not even like tinfoil hat theories. It's like, bro, we could write a story. Like we could write a whole fan fiction on this.
Okay, crazy thing. All right. So speaking of the videos we talked about, things we talked about. After last night when you came in and talked about the timeline, and then I went back through with the Higurashi thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I wanted to talk about with you, by the way.
I'm literally almost like 100% sure that Shiki is coming to Wano, or Shiki's making an appearance in the story.
So here let's preface the idea, right? Because we talked about it in your stream, but so the idea, right? Because like everyone, I pointed this out earlier, guys. The 31 years ago from current timeline, that is when or was it what in what not 31 years ago? Wait, no, yeah, 31 years ago. That's when Orochi becomes Shogun, and Higurashi proposes the idea of Wano, the weapons stuff, to Kaido. That happens in the exact same year.
Yeah, you say it's 31 years ago?
Yes, 31 years ago, right? That's what we said yesterday?
So it was 30 years ago was the God Valley incident, so it was 10 years from the God Valley incident. So it would have to be 28 years ago.
28 years ago.
So Orochi became Shogun 28 years ago.
Okay, so let me fix this then. So 1524 minus 28. 1524 minus 28. Wait. Is that, because then that puts it 1496.
Yeah, because it was 30 years ago from the current timeline was when the God Valley incident happened. The situation with Higurashi from this last chapter said it was 10 years from the incident. Kaido was 21 during God Valley, so he was 31 during when he finally went to Wano.
But 38 years ago, 1524 minus 38 would be 1486. Does that line up? 1486 is when. So 38. Okay, wait. When they say 38 years ago, that was Sengoku's line, right?
Yeah, that was like during the reverie when they went away.
So that's post time skip.
Yeah, post time skip.
Okay, so 38. Okay, so then 1524 minus 38, that puts it. So then this date is 1486 then. Okay. So then that's good. And then so 10 years from that puts it at, so Odin is not 18 then. He is, okay, hold on. Then we got to change some things. So then I added 3 years, 18. That means Odin's 21 then. Then
Okay.
that means 1486 plus 9, because 9 years after Odin, oh no, this date stays the same, because after Odin is 18 and 9 years later, that's when he talks to his dad for the last time. And then before I lose my thought, so 10 years from God Valley is 1496. Okay, so then that lines up. That lines up with this. Okay. So then that, okay. So I'm so glad we did this then. Okay, perfect. Because I had something here that was like a little awkward. Okay, so then that puts that there. Okay, so I'll clean it up also. Afterwards, here, let me just check the chat if anyone said anything relevant here. You should include reference to be mentioned theory. Yeah, for sure. A good time add is that sometime after Odin died, the Mane Mane no Mi and the Bare Bare no Mi were taken to the east. But we don't know who did that, but it may be important. So that is important. Actually, I'll put it right here. 15 after Odin. Oh, no, it's not.
Oh, I had an interesting question for you too.
Yeah.
So you said the Bare Bare no Mi and the I can't clone for basically. So do you think, say Kaido does die, right?
Yeah.
And Orochi does die, and possibly Kanjuro. Do you think it's possible for their Devil Fruit spirit or soul to reincarnate in a small Devil Fruit?
No, I don't think so. But okay, so here's the thing though. Mm-hmm. Like, is after, if Kaido dies, are there now 2 dragon fruits in the world? Because there's Momo and then there's Kaido's. Is the problem? Does Momo's fruit not reincarnate? Is that the way to solve that, or does it stay and then now there's just 2 fruits?
And then 2 fruits because essentially there's an artificial one, so it's like not the same one technically.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like, it's really weird. Okay, so the main thing I think that we should talk about, right? 9:30. Okay, so now that we got that figured out, 1496 is Orochi becomes Shogun. Higurashi proposed the idea to Kaido, and the implication there being that getting to Wano isn't easy, right? No. Odin failed actually he failed 38 times. Like, actually, I think that's the exact number. He failed 38 times according to the beginning of the flashback, or not the beginning of flashback. By the time Odin met his dad or something, I think it was 38 failures of getting off of the thing, right? It's not easy to get off of Wano, and to the point where Whitebeard's ship was wrecked when he got to Wano. So Whitebeard, the Moby Dick, was wrecked getting to Wano. They're a capable pirate crew, right?
Which is very interesting, because that's why I'm trying to think with the Big Mom pirates, because they got knocked off the first time, their ship was still intact. But the second time, we only saw Parasparrow. We haven't even seen the ship again.
Right, and so I mentioned that in my chapter reaction, where I was just like, the Big Mom pirates can't even get on the island. Like, that's how hard it is, right? So it's like how is Higurashi just doing this alone? Like, how is she doing?
Exactly, bro.
And the other part is, apparently she wasn't even like her interaction with Orochi is like, we don't even know if she was on Wano. Like, when was she on Wano? When did she leave Wano? Like, we don't know, because like, what, 1496, do we know how old did Oda ever tell us how old she was? I don't think so.
Right? I think it's left open. And the thing is, okay, so right now we have a lot of open-ended storylines with people involving Wano. One is like Big Mom and the Giants, so people saying Big Mom is not going to die or be put down because she has to interact with Elbath. But if Hyrule were to show up in Wano with the Grand Fleet, you can sort of like finish that storyline up. But then you also have two storylines involving devil fruits that could make a reappearance in Wano. Say if Bartolomeo comes, then we have the Barry no Me. But say Bon Clay also escapes, right? And the situation is because there are, I feel as though besides Bon Clay, there are other people in Impel Down that have some interaction with Luffy. And if they find out Luffy's taking on a Yonko, they may also make a move, XYZ Doflamingo. And then we have Marco, Sphinx Island, but also Weevil and Bakken. So like, that's another storyline that could possibly finish up in Wano because people say that Marco may die trying to sacrifice himself to save someone else, which is very like an open-ended theory as well. But the other theory is, why did Higurashi turn into Shiki? Because besides Chapter 0, Shiki is pretty much not in the storyline at all, besides mentioning that he was part of the Rocks Pirates. But now we've had three.
We didn't even see him. We didn't even see him with the God Valley thing.
No,
with the recent thing, which is like, why wouldn't Oda put that there, right? Like,
exactly. Yeah.
It's it should be confirmed that Shiki was at God Valley though, right?
No, no, he was. I think it was confirmed with Sengoku. I can't remember top of my head, but I think it was.
Okay, so we have that, and it's like, why? How does? Oh, and the other thing is in the manga, and I think in the anime they had other faces, but in the anime, did they have Weevil's mom in there?
No, but it's just actually just a fan theory. I don't think it's actually confirmed. But Weevil's mom supposedly looks like Bakken when she was younger. So like the woman we see now is like a little bit older.
Yeah.
And if we're going based off of everything we know from the movie, but also from Chapter 0, it's almost like Shiki was like planning this for 20 years to get that 20 years into the future. Because I really think it's a very specific thing that they sent him 20 years into the future. Then Shiki's plan also is going to take 20 years to execute, right? And we still know the reasoning behind the island that actually sucked up the Beiji and his crew. It was like a random island that was floating and then just like sucked him up and he landed in the New World. So like that's still open-ended too. So it's a situation where why would Higurashi know to do all this, go to Wano, but also interact with Orochi, and then get Kaido involved? It just doesn't make sense unless someone else was also with Higurashi. And I don't think Sentomaru was the other person.
Yeah, so I think like I had the same like I think Higurashi is definitely going to become more important. And so in your line of thinking, you're insinuating that Shiki's the man behind Higurashi, right?
Yes, and then you have the producer statement, which people are still like going back and forth, but saying that if it was like correct or not, the translation was correct, but basically saying that Kaido wasn't the big end villain for Wano, and I'm just like, oh man.
Yeah, I don't know if so I don't like narratively, right? Like I don't think it makes sense for like an end, like Shiki should be like an end game kind of villain, right? To that then on top of that show up in that capacity, right? Like in a strong world capacity. But like the whole Shiki's involvement in this I think is really important, but then the part of it is like I feel like if he wouldn't Odin I keep mixing Odin and Oda, why wouldn't he show Shiki in the cover story, or not the cover story, the flashback in the last chapter? It's so weird because we know Shiki's canon.
The reason why is because I feel as though Oda's like playing it slow, and by that I mean he wants the defeat of Kaido, because remember the whole purpose of the Marines going to Wano was if Kaido were to fall, right? And then Shiki specifically says, remember, he said 20 years. So like, why was it 20 years specifically? Do you have to build up your forces? Do you need to find a certain person? Or are you waiting for a specific person? And Kaido, we still know the reason why Kaido knows about Joboy, and we don't know how King knows about Joboy. But Kaido's like, Yamato mentioned Joboy. I don't know how that brat actually knows about Joboy. It's very particular that Kaido went to Wano where Joboy is supposed to come to. So it's like,
where did that knowledge come from,
exactly.
right?
So these are like,
and Higurashi shouldn't know that.
No.
Right? Why would Higurashi know that? And I just want to. This is what Big Baluba. I love your name, by the way. He was mentioning in the. I forgot to bring it up, but in the manga panels, right before Shiki's face, there was a young blonde woman.
Yeah, Bakken. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's Bakken. Like that's confirmed.
No, that's theory. That was the theory I was talking about.
Okay.
Theorized that it could possibly be Bakken.
Got it. Yeah. So That's what this guy is good. Yeah, Mosh is good. Mosh is good for sure. If you want to see, he has a YouTube thing. I have it linked in our Yonko series, but also on TikTok. Mosh DMC, MOASH DMC. It'll be in the description of this VOD too. But that being said, with yeah, that knowledge, like the whole thing around, like, is it all coincidence that Higurashi was just like, yo, we need Kaido here?
Exactly. I don't know. It doesn't. Yeah.
Like, are we really gonna say that because Kaido wants to go to, like, up until this last chapter, it was like it made sense why Kaido was on Wano because he knew so much about Joy Boy, and then he doesn't know Odin's journal, where Odin's journal is the only source besides the Rogers Pirates that should know that Joy Boy should be going to Wano. There is no other source, right? That was not anywhere. Only Yamato knew that because of the journal, right? Yeah, so Joy Boy's connection to Wano was only known by Zunisha, Odin, Rogers Pirates, Yamato, and now Momo. So Kaido didn't know that, but Kaido really apparently reveres Joy Boy. Same thing with King. And upon reflection on King's thing, remember my theory about how King and Kaido, like the whole, like they might not join the Straw Hats, but like support the Joy Boy. Like when you look back at what King said that, like, you know, legends are legends, blah blah blah. I'll give my life to you as long as you stay the strongest, right? But then now adding in what Kaido said, he said that Joy Boy is gonna be stronger than him, and then King was like, nah, that's not possible, right? So it's like it almost makes it sound like King would support Joy Boy if they find out Joy Boy, right? So that being said, like with the whole Joy Boy thing, it's like all of these different moving parts, they got to it at the same, they somehow all came to the same point without the knowledge, and Higurashi shouldn't know about the Odin stuff, right? And she shouldn't know that Kaido reveres Joy Boy, right? Like that doesn't make sense either. So then how did she come up with this plan that somehow, like why is Kaido listening to her, first of all? You know what I mean? Like,
so I think someone acts like they don't understand Higurashi. So basically the situation with Higurashi is that Higurashi was with Kaido before God Valley or after God Valley, and then Higurashi basically goes and tells Kaido, yo, if you want weapons, I know a perfect place to go to, and that's Wano, basically. But also, when you go back to Odin's flashback, the same exact year, Higurashi interacts with Orochi, and she tells Orochi the history of the Kurozumi, and she not only turns into Shiki, but also another blonde woman that we're assuming is Bakken. So how did Higurashi not only get from Wano to Kaido in order to make that plan, but also how is she interacting and changing to these two people that we don't have no idea, like, how she would know them? So, like, especially Bakken, was she part of the Rocks Pirates? Did she interact with someone like Shiki randomly? So it's very, like, up in the air about how this whole thing's playing out. But the timeline all adds up that basically Higurashi convinced Kaido to go to Wano. Then Kaido, on top of that, learned about Joy Boy supposed to come to Wano because of Odin's prophecy about him coming, or supposedly open the borders 20 years from the fall of Odin.
Yeah. Some Big Baluba also put out a thing I was thinking about. It's called the clone fruit, but you don't actually, you clone somebody, right? But wouldn't, like, the appropriate thing be like you create a body double? And I was thinking about that. I was like, is that?
Okay, but this is before I met you, right? I was saying, because of awakenings, right? How can it affect other things? Would it be possible to clone the actual fruit and the power, right? And I was saying, if it was possible, like hashtag Higurashi equals Aizen, that Higurashi's not actually dead, and that it was a body double or someone else with that power that she killed, and the fruit that Bartolomeo and Von Clay have aren't actually the originals. But that's like way out there, and I just thought it was really interesting.
But like, honestly, the clone fruit is the clone, the bare no mi. I tweeted about this, how the Kurozumi family stacked. They had the mane no mi, the bare no mi. They had the mythical Zoan, the Yamata no Orochi. I think that's the actual name, right? And then Kanjuro has the fude. His fruit is broken. And then if the theory that Tama, is Kurozumi, then they also have the what's it called? Yeah, that one. And that one's broken too. And in Randy, I think in Randy Choi's stream, he was proposing that and I love this idea because I never even thought about it like this. Isn't Tama's fruit like the biggest counter to Kaido's plan? And isn't it crazy to think that that if Tama was Kurozumi, how did she get that fruit? Why is that fruit even there? Why is the perfect counter to Kaido's thing there? Yeah. And so he was saying that, and I don't remember if this was like something he came up on the spot or if this is part of his like video theory, but that Higurashi might have acquired that fruit to counter Kaido's larger plan and give it to Orochi so that Orochi would have the counter to Kaido's forces. And I was like, oh, that is next level if that is the lore, because that actually makes so much sense. That does make a lot of sense.
I genuinely believe so. Like, I remember when we were trying to decide like the name of the fruit they were talking about, what name was changed before we actually found out it was Luffy's. Yeah. Remember I said that Tama's fruit following along the line of Momotaro, that whole story with the fruit pheasant.
Yeah, we both were on that wavelength. So we had that phone call, remember?
Yeah. Tama's fruit was actually like Peach Boy. Like the Peach Boy was like basically Momotaro, and how like that could have possibly been Joy Boy's old fruit. But now we know Joy Boy's fruit was possibly Luffy's fruit. That's still a question mark in the air, but how that fruit could possibly have been like another part of like Joy Boy's like crew, like how Chopper's able to interact and talk to animals and stuff like that, instead of like the Luffy with Chopper, it was Joy Boy with whoever had Otama's fruit at that time was also like a part of like Joy Boy's like inner circle.
Yeah, and that it's like, dude, like we're talking about this and like people are like, Kaido's done, he's not getting up, Wano's over, we need to get out of Wano, and I'm just like, you're joking, right? You're joking. This chapter just opened up a bag of worms that I was just like, we're not sorting through this in a chapter. We need like, whether it's more 5 acts, or Oda just throws out the whole acts and just act 3 just gets extended out. I don't know, but like there's so much lore that we have to get through. Don't forget the Bunbuki is her raccoon pot. It might have come for. Wait, what? Wait, is that canon?
Yeah.
Or was that a cover story?
No, Otama's like teapot has a fruit as well. Yeah.
Tama's thing is it?
Yeah, the little tanuki.
I know the picture, but that was Tama. Oh my god.
Yeah, yeah.
Wait a moment. I need. Oh my god.
Interesting thing to think about too is, and this is I genuinely believe what's gonna happen is Zunisha's gonna get like one-shotted, right? Like we're all thinking, okay, Zunisha's there, Momonosuke gives the order, Zunisha wipes out the Wolverines. Cute. But Mount Dora's ability, I feel as though it's very misplaced so far in the series. I feel as though Oda like sort of introduced it. We got the interaction with Luffy, then Big Mom collecting these things, right?
Yeah.
So my thought process.
Well, it's in the cover story right now.
What is?
His book, yeah.
Yeah, his book. So, but also I was thinking, okay, Big Mom likes to collect very like unique things, but also we know that Big Mom, like I said, unless Hyrule shows up, Big Mom's character arc is still probably pretty much up in the air. So say Big Mom does get up, and so does Kaido, and Kaido does die. One thing Oda's been showing us is the relationship between Big Mom and Kaido, but also the relationship between pirates and also we're seeking revenge. Big Mom already has like it out for the Straw Hats, but now you tack on the fact that they killed someone that she was pretty much close to, that's Kaido, and then she also has Zunisha. So now she like Mount Dora actually collects Zunisha in one of his books. But also they killed Kaido, right? I don't see it's very interesting to see what you're talking about with Kaido possibly joining the Straw Hats, but it's very, very hard for me to believe because unless
he's not joining the Straw Hats. That's not what I was saying.
The Grand Fleet or just like involved. Like,
no, not the Grand Fleet either.
So in favor, you mean? They just like in favor with the Straw Hats.
So even when you think about it like this, I think I mentioned. Did I mention in this last thing? Did I mention it? Or is it my predictions thing? It might be my predictions thing. I don't remember actually. But when you think about it, right? If Kaido's left alive, right? Let's say Kaido's alive after Wano, and he's still antagonist and in an antagonist nature towards Luffy, right? It doesn't make sense for him to be alive. He's such a the world government can't detain him. Who can hold? No one can hold Kaido down.
Yeah.
If he's left alive,
Yeah.
that means that you have this world power that can literally disrupt everything. He could fly, he can go anywhere, right? So you're telling me that Straw Hats are somehow going to have this world destroying level threat still present after Wano? That doesn't make sense to me. So in my mind, he has to die, or someone has to come up with a way he gets detained, and I don't think there's a way to detain it. And so now the question is like, how does he die? Or why does he die? Well, first of all, we were introduced to Kaido in a way where it's like he's a man searching for death. That's literally the narrator card said that's what Kaido's searching for. He wants to die. That is his character, right? So for his character arc to complete, he has to die. Now the concept of dying is very interesting because I said this in a comment, is Bellamy, I would say, died. He's still alive, but he died. And the reason why he died is because he's not a pirate anymore. He let himself be killed by Luffy, and he said that this is what I devoted myself. This was the dream that I lived by. I ran with my entire life, and I can't just drop it. I can't stop doing that. So what needs to happen is, Luffy, I need you to kill me. That's literally what happened. Luffy didn't want to do it, but he did it. And then afterwards, Bellamy retired as a pirate. He's now someone who makes pirate flags. And so he died. He gave up on his dreams. He died completely, right? That is death. That is a way to die. Now, with Kaido, the thing is, it could be that way, or because it's like, even if he dies in that... Oh, okay, so this is in my predictions video. So you guys are getting a little preview of what I talk about. But, so in that line, right? Even in that way, Bellamy is more redeemable, right? Like, I think everyone can kind of forgive... If Bellamy somehow was a good person now, I think people could forgive him. Because we haven't seen the heinous acts of Bellamy outside of what he did. They weren't all that bad, but we don't know what he did outside, right? Yeah. But, like, he's redeemable. Kaido, on the other hand, he was a tyrannical dictator that starved an entire nation. He's not redeemable, right? Yeah. And so when you take that into consideration, that kind of death might not be what we get from Kaido. And then when you tie into, he respects the way Whitebeard and Roger died. They both actually died. Exactly, yeah. And who did they actually die for? They actually died for pushing a narrative, pushing a dream, right? Roger died to start the golden era of pirates. He died so that someone would be forced to find and be encouraged to find the One Piece so that the prophecy could be better completed, right? And so then when we look at Whitebeard died, and before he went out, he's like, the One Piece is real, to further he was there to, you know, keep Ace alive, but then he saw Luffy, right? He's like, I wanted to push Luffy forward. And then he's also like, in his last words, he's like, I'm going to make sure that Roger's words get pushed on, right? Okay. And then we get Kaido.
I have a great question for you.
Okay, let me just finish this part. So then we get Kaido, right? And it's like, Kaido might have that same situation where we have these moving parts. We have the world government closing in on Luffy. Luffy is now end stage. There's no way that Luffy's gonna be able to, like, continue on. Like, there's no way. It's gonna be the Thriller Bark situation, is it not? Where after he beats Moria, he's out of commission, and someone else has to take the onus of surviving afterwards, right? And we're not saying that Kaido is Zoro in that sense, but Kaido might play that role. And Kaido's like, Kaido and King specifically, they're like, Joy boy. I, you know, live. King literally said, I live by, I will, like, you have my life, right? That's what he said to Kaido in the context of the Joy Boy thing. So then it's like, they might sacrifice themselves for Luffy to survive. And that might be the way that Kaido goes out, by dying after, because we also have to realize that even like the fight with Luffy will complete with Kaido in a lot of ways. I feel like Kaido and Luffy will have a full end to their fight where Kaido's very tired, but I don't think Kaido will be like out of commission. You know what I mean? And so he'll have more gas left in the tank to, you know, tackle another threat similar to Zoro in that line, you know? And so that's the way I think Kaido might die by the end of the arc, where Kaido realizes Luffy is Joy Boy. He wants to push on that dream, similar to Whitebeard, right? Whitebeard, and it'd be very interesting if this happens. And then that's the way that Kaido's no longer a threat moving forward, you know? So it's really interesting.
All right. I only have a couple forms of that. It's because one, that is then presuming, but also it's then presuming that the world government sent people who aren't capable of killing Kaido, right? So, and we essentially know that the only people that can possibly kill Kaido are people who like at least conquers coding or something in that nature. So yeah, you could possibly have Green Bull does show up right now. If you're going, like I said, going along with the story with Momotaro, Green Bull and Tiger are two antagonists or people in the story that actually do play against the main character. But also with Roger and Whitebeard, you mentioned how at both of their deaths they had a line that sort of like shook the world, right? And if Kaido wants to be remembered in those,
I know you're.
What do you think Kaido's last line before he dies is gonna be?
He's gonna proclaim Luffy to be Joy Boy, right? Is that what you're thinking?
I think it may be a situation where that is the thing, because right now the name Joy Boy is. So remember how
people know it. People do know Joy Boy.
Yeah, know of Joy Boy, but the thing is, the name is also it's supposedly wiped from history. Besides the Fishman Island and besides but I think Fishman Island is the only place that actually knows besides Odin's journal. But the name Joy Boy has to reverberate back towards the Gorosei in some way, shape, or form, and I think Kaido will be the one to actually say it.
Oh shit!
Joy Boy's just say Joy Boy has arrived. The person who's here to liberate the world has arrived, something like that, you know. So yeah. I thought it was interesting you mentioned that the things they said before they died. I was like, if Kaido's going to fall in line with those two, he has to have like a specific line before he dies. And that's why I especially do not believe it's over, because Kaido didn't get any of that at all. And he's supposed to be in the same realm as Roger and
yeah. Wait a moment. This is good. Because I mentioned in my thing that I'm making, so the 1049 thing, it would have been a very long video, but I cut it and like, I went through the chapter, but I'm going to have a predictions thing for the end of Wano stuff. So that was another reason why I was going through the timeline thing, is I wanted to see if there's other things that I could figure out. And I think this is like a really solid thing too. So definitely I'll message you about this kind of stuff after, but like, oh my goodness, that makes so much more sense, that, because when you think about it, what could Kaido leave off? It would be things about Joy Boy, and then it's kind of, why would that matter?
I can give you something else too.
So hold on, before that, the other part of it is like Roger and Whitebeard, their lines were inherently valuable to the people listening, right? Like in the present, you know what I mean? Like Roger said it, and it was to the future prospects that were present, right? Whitebeard said it. He said it to Luffy. He said it to Blackbeard. He said it to however many other people there. He said it to piss off Sengoku too, right? Like that, he said it for a lot of reasons, right? So Kaido saying it for the Gorosei is an interesting thing, because I think that gives us a larger, like a macro scale reason for validation of why this line is said. But I think to really solidify it, we'd have to come up with a reason why it would be inherently valuable to the people there present listening. So the samurai, the pirates, and
stop. Oh man, who's who, dog?
What happened?
No, I was saying, and who's who?
Oh, who's who? Yeah. So, so like, is Joy Boy Law and Kid? Do they know Joy Boy?
No, I mean, I think Kid does, but that's for different reasons. I don't think Law does.
Yeah. So, and then the samurai don't necessarily know Joy Boy, right?
The samurai do not. They shouldn't.
Kaido has the poneglyphs, but we don't think that he's. Big Mom and Kaido don't know what's on the poneglyphs, right?
So essentially, I genuinely believe that Kaido possibly has like the voice of all things or something like that. That's just me personally. There's no like real like evidence.
But then why would he care about pudding? Why would he care about pudding?
He wasn't caring about like receiving pudding. He was more or less asking Big Mom if pudding did awaken her thing. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't more or less like he was asking, can I get pudding? Can I borrow her? It was like more or less like.
But wasn't it saying? Didn't they say that he needed Nico Robin? Wasn't that the whole?
He ordered that. Black Maria said that. He never said it.
But the orders are probably from Kaido, right?
No, the thing when you look at the line with Blackbeard, it's almost like he's like, I'll give Kaido, I'll give all the big wigs are after you, and I'm just gonna give Kaido you as a gift. That's what essentially how I read it.
Gotcha.
It wasn't like Kaido was specifically looking for Nika Robin because like it was more or less like Blackbeard's like call Nika Robin here, you know? It was like sort of weird to me. But it could be a situation that Kaido didn't give an order to Blackbeard, but it wasn't like how
It wasn't
was,
explicit.
Like, read. Yeah.
Yeah. Here, let me read the Time Lord sent some bits. Thank you. Kaido is searching for death. Luffy's laugh is she, which means death. Is she death? She ni is death, yeah. Right? She son. She. Which part of that is lion? Lion song, right? She son is lion song, right? Mm-hmm. Doesn't Shiki, isn't that referring to lion? She?
Yeah, she. I think she. I forgot what it is, but she is in the word lion for in Japanese.
Yeah. So, Kaido is searching for Luffy. Kaido is searching for Jobo. Yep. So interesting. Wait, that's actually Shinigami, right? Death god, right? Ni. Yeah. What does the ni part mean? Do you know?
It just means two, like because like I think it was 4-3 in Japanese is like taboo or 3 is taboo because it means to death or just death in general. So I think it's like in that same realm.
Got it. So she. Wow, that's interesting that lion and death kind of like connect. Interesting. I never even thought about that actually. Interesting. Here, let me see. That's true. Who's finna a copy of that poneglyph? So.
You know the craziest part is, Brook copied multiple poneglyphs. From Big Mom, and Robin still has not seen them.
Yeah. So we were talking about in Hidden Island stream that was one of the predictions. I said that there's gonna be 4 poneglyphs that are red, and I think that there's like the reason why they haven't been read yet is because they're gonna be something like insanely absurd that just changes everything again. And
I'm ready for Kid to betray Luffy. That's what I'm ready for, man.
I don't know if I could.
I need it.
I don't know if I can subscribe to that thought.
I need it.
Here, let me there was another thing that I want to bring up with this. The Higurashi thing. Now, here's a question, right? The way that these panels were with the flashbacks, it feels like Higurashi had the plan, right? So without the Shiki thing, is there another way that she could have come up with this? Are we just saying that she's like Lelouch from Code Geass? Like she's just out here?
There's no way. Just remember, because unless Higurashi was a radius, like the thing is, the only way that could play out is if Higurashi was really a Kurozumi and she also left Wano, which is a thing. She could have possibly left with Kozuba at that time. So there is like ways to think about it, but then why would she say, oh, if you want to make weapons, let's go to Wano, when Wano specifically was not like a weapons factory place to begin with. The only thing that was essentially in Wano was craftsmen and sea prism stone. That's really it. So
and then here's the other question, right? This is confirmed, like for everyone listening, this is confirmed. If you do the math, when Orochi became Shogun and when she talked to Kaido in that 1049 flashback, that's the same year, 1496. That is the same year. You can do the math. Tell us if we're wrong, but that's 1496. Mosh did the math yesterday. I did it today. It matches up. So with that in mind, how does she get to Wano and off of Wano? Unless we're saying Kaido is already on, because it doesn't make sense that Kaido's already on Wano in that flashback. Like in that section right after the Big Mom thing, right? After the Pirate Island thing, there's that double spread where it's not double, like 2 lines where it's the Higurashi and then Kaido saying he agrees, right? That was that doesn't feel like it's on Wano. It doesn't look like it's on Wano, but Higurashi's there, and it's like, then how is she getting back and forth? How is she on Wano and off of Wano? How can we explain that? You know what I mean? And it also feels like when Whitebeard landed, it seemed like people monitor pirates, right? Because they were like, oh, pirates landed, you know, and their ship looks really cool. And it was almost like they weren't surprised that pirates were there. They were ready to deal with it, but they were like, that's a really crazy pirate ship, right?
You know what? I'm trying to think. How did Odin know that Joy Boy was coming in 20 years?
How did Odin know that Joy Boy was coming in 20 years? The prophecy, right? But that only said the ancient weapons, right?
That's what I'm saying. The prophecy was from the Sea Kings, but they just knew that they were too early for Shirahoshi. And Joy Boy just apologized for not being able to. And the poneglyph with Joy Boy and Fishman Island was just saying that, oh yeah, I'm apologizing for not being able to fulfill my promise. But Odin and Toki's not Toki can't see to the future. Toki just said like look 20 years into the future.
Yeah, she didn't know.
So
it'd have to be Laugh Tale. It'd have to be what they learned about the.
It would have to be. That's the only thing. And
right.
So it's very interesting to me too because Laugh Tale essentially is not the end all be all. Because Roger says we were too early. Early for what? Because he already got to the last island. So whatever he found on the last island still wasn't what he needed to accomplish. And then he said, I want the One Piece. I wonder who will find it. Because the One Piece name was not granted until after Roger got to that last island.
Yeah, he didn't name it. He named it Laugh Tale. The world called it One Piece.
The One Piece, exactly.
But... So and then with that logic, right? And I don't like making Laugh Tale theories because it's there's not a lot to go off of, but this is pretty close to the source where it's like for it to predict, was it set in stone or is there a sentient like presence there that kind of like
and if
that's like
was,
updating?
Yeah. So it would have to be updating because unless Joy wrote on that island, like, listen, 800 and plus years from now is when I'm going to come back. Because even if it was written on Laugh Tale, it's very improbable unless Joy Boy wrote a message saying he's coming back. But then he would have to have written that message 800 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Because he wouldn't have to, like, unless, like, someone's there, like, oh, yeah, Joy Boy says he's coming back in 860 or 820 plus years. I'm just like, so it's very, like, cut and dry about how Odin actually knows Joy Boy's supposed to come.
Yeah, wait, this is that. So this actually this isn't connected to this. Actually, it connects to Toki. I brought it up to actually bring it up with you. Another way. Oh no, this is last week's stream where I was saying that technically there's another way to time travel. It's not really Toki's time travel is the best way to time travel, right? But like, you know how like Tama's fruit, like she can get knocked out and the effects of her fruit still last, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my thinking was like, that might mean that a past user of Tama's fruit, like, and so here's another example. Toki's fruit, we know 100%, at least if, well, I mean, the conspiracy is that she's still alive, but if she's dead, right? Like, let's just say she's dead, and it's not like the people get ripped out of history. It's not like her powers just get reversed. There's certain devil fruit powers that have permanent effects after you die, like even these weird ones, right? Mm-hmm. And so Tama's fruit is one of the fruits that kind of like is closest to being similar in that nature, because we know that when she's passed out, the effect of her fruit still lasts. So then you could insinuate that maybe her commands might last even if she died. And with that logic, that means that there might be certain animals in the past that have commands that were instilled by the previous user, right? And that lasted through their death, right? And then, so the baseline thing is like, okay, Zunisha, okay, like maybe that's where the guardian deities, maybe that's why they are guardian deities, because they were commanded. They were all like a group of thing. And then the commander, Tama's previous user, commanded, you protect Alabasta, you protect Wano, you protect Fishman Island, you protect this, right? That might have been the command for these guardian spirits. But the reason why I'm talking about this is that if there are powers that persist through death, now let's think about Boa's power. Because Boa's power turns you to stone. And the way it was described is that the people are put into limbo, and then they don't have any concept of time passing while they're there. They get unfrozen and they're there. So then it's like, what if, okay, these statues, these statues might be people, but Boa might be relevant because on Laugh Tale, and we just talked about it, there might be a sentient presence there. What if on Laugh Tale there's statues? And if you have the voice of all things to that extent, maybe you can speak to them.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Oh, wait.
And
just to answer one person in your chat, they said 10 until boarded, 15 to grow. That's 25 years. 5 years later, Odin died. Remember, the Sea Kings were the one that basically said that they have to grow after a certain age, right? Or was it like, are you talking about, was it King Neptune that said that?
I think the Sea King said 10 until...
Yeah.
Or no, was it after Madame Charlie said? I forget. I know what chapter it is. I don't know it. Actually, no, I do know what chapter Roger's in, but...
Yeah, I think it may have been the Sea King that said the Sovereign King is going to be born in XYZ, or the Sovereign King. I think it was the Sea King that said it, basically. So Odin and Roger wouldn't know that. But I'm just going to double check to make sure it wasn't like Neptune that said that, but I'm presuming it was the Sea Kings. And side note, 1017 is out, so we got to wrap it up soon a little bit because we're about to jump over and watch it.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Was there any other so I think to close off the stream portion, the voice of all things thing, I think like I said, if you guys are here, if you guys aren't in my Discord, please join the Discord, because if you come up with time stamps that I didn't for the Wano timeline, I think what I'm going to be doing is, if I don't make a lot of headway on my own in the next week, I'll probably revisit this with the updated stuff in the next episode of this Voice of All Things thing. And it also depends on who my guest is and that kind of stuff. But that being said, I'm going to read chat a little bit, and then what we're going to do is we'll close off the Voice of All Things and the Buster call, and then I'm going to end the stream but restart it on my Twitch. So if you're on the YouTube, in the YouTube chat, come over to my Twitch, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna have the watch party for episode 1017, and episode 1017 is supposed to be all roof piece, all the panels that they didn't animate at the end of 1001 and all of 1002, and we don't know if they're gonna go into 1003, but they might, because it might. I don't think they will, but it's gonna be all roof piece, so it's gonna be epic. And the lead animator, the lead directors for these things, by the way, they're on Twitter. I retweet them. He said that this is gonna be one of the best episodes of like all time.
Yeah,
that's after 1015, and we know Ishitani was there, so it's like,
it's crazy.
So it's like, it's kind of crazy. What's it called?
Oh, let me answer the guy in the chat for like last. So, Madame Shirley basically said 10 years until Shirahoshi was born, which you knew that. But the 10 years till birth, 15 until they grow after they're born was the Sea Kings. It was not Madame Shirley that said that. It was Sea Kings. So Roger and Odin did not know 15 years. So.
Madame Charlie told them when Poseidon would be born, exactly, but the other parts of it wasn't exactly the Sea Kings.
It was the Sea King. It was the Sea Kings, yeah. So I'm saying, so Odin still would, unless they did the math, Odin did the math himself, which probably is the case, but still, he shouldn't know when Joe was just coming to Wano specifically.
And I think in that same conversation
is the best part to think about, coming to Wano.
I think the other part of that conversation was the Sea King said that there's two sovereigns that will meet, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So Odin and them wouldn't know that until they got to Laugh Tale, because at Laugh Tale, that's when they should, like, the things that the Sea King said, that's when they should know about it, right? Because if they know the history of everything, they should probably know that stuff.
Yeah.
And to the point where if Odin's out here predicting the next 20 years, then they probably know, right? They probably know. Hey, Jot Manu, thank you for the resubscription to 2 months. Thank you. Thanks for coming back. Sorry I'm gonna be more consistent. Thank you again for the subs. That being said, let me go through some of the chats. And wait, Macho, are you gonna be watching with us on my stream with Tanami?
I already have my thing set up too. So
Okay,
yeah,
okay, all right.
I've been streaming on my thing on Twitch the whole time. So
Okay, so then after come into my stream and message me when you're done, so I know, so then we can get onto a call after, because we've dropped the ball 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, so yeah, if you want to head out and start watching it, cool. I'll be doing it on my thing too. All right.
Solid. Yep.
Yeah. Good call. Good conversation. Right. We'll be talking again.
Anytime. Let's go.
Yeah. Peace. All right. So let me go through some of the chats on the YouTube, and then again, I'll just say this before you guys like start heading off. Thank you for listening to the Voice of All Things with Parvision. This is episode 2. We're talking about the history of Wano. That being said, we talked about a lot more than just the history of Wano, but we tried to keep it connected to Wano as much as we could. So sorry again if you guys are chatting and it wasn't Wano related. Sometimes I glazed over things that I couldn't really connect to Wano because I wanted to keep it like on topic. Hopefully, I think there's like 3 major things that we have to revisit. The Ryuma thing, because someone like Real Raymond said that it was 400 years ago. I need to go back in the SBS to review what you guys just showed me about that. Why Kozuburo left, Zoro's parents, how is Higurashi getting back and forth between the islands, Toki, how did Toki, where was Toki, how did she end up there? I think another major one, the Kurozumi Hunt. Is there a world where Shimotsuki village, a neighboring village, was the Kurozumi village? That could be it. It'd be really interesting. Like maybe a way to find out. Oh, wait. Do they say, hold on, before we go, and before I get to your chats, Tsunachi. That was looked down on by everybody. Did Kozuburo say that? Was that did Koshiro say that? Do you guys remember? Was Tsunachi something they said in the dojo? Reason everyone could watch us. Oh, thanks. Okay, that makes sense. Ichimonji guy said it, not the dojo. Ichimonji? Wait, who's the Ichimonji guy? Oh, the Wado Ichimonji. The Kozuburo guy. Not the dojo. Tsunachi was supposed to be like not respectable. Is there, oh my goodness, is there a world where Kozuburo left because he had ties to the Kurozumi? Because what if Tsunachi was said by the Kurozumi clan? It means throw away your name and wits. Wait, what does this say? Is Tsunachi, is that what like in Japanese it translates to, or is that in like the anime or manga? Lord Vegeta, hey, no problems. The VOD's gonna be posted for sure. You're not late, never late, but you know, the same time next week we'll be having another Voice of All Things episode. Yo, if Boa has Soul Command on Awakening, I'm dead. It's gonna be crazy. If Brook's eyes weren't gone, would he have spiral eyes? That it maybe it'd be interesting, right? Roger and company did the math. New info updates. With new info, update vids are a must. Yep, Roof Piece is gonna be whole movie, but yeah, great stream. Catch you next time. Thanks for stopping by, Unlimited Anime. Thank you. Cringy Fox. Why are we saying sheesh? Is it because the drip? Is it because the drip? Did you watch the new? No, we're gonna be watching it on stream. So, Parsa, come over to the Twitch One Piece watch party. Yep, we're gonna be having it. They said Tsunachi to Ashura before they went and fought Kaido. Ashura has pink hair. Is Ashura Kurozumi? Because, like, think about it. Who could kill Ashura? Like, no normal person could probably... Like, imagine trying to hunt on Ashura. Maybe that's how he got so strong. Because he fought. Oh, wait. Hold on. Ashura might be Kurozumi. I mean, that's just based off of hair, though. Ashura is not Kurozumi. His name is Ashura Doji, right? Because it would make sense if you change the name. And if Tsunachi... Interesting. Ashura Doji. Doji is a banded title. Well, it wouldn't be abnormal to just change your name, right? I mean, there's so many people we don't know the name for. You would not... Like, even Orochi. Orochi never told anyone he was Kurozumi. He told them once the fake Sukiyaki was like, he could be Shogun, right? That's when they found out that he was Kurozumi. Up until then, they did not know, right? Why would Ashura ever tell anyone he was Kurozumi? That'd be really weird, to be honest. He was in the prison district, right? Could be tied to that. Interesting. Par just randomly found out that what place Bellemere found. Yes. I think Oda has a huge thing because, like, Wano is supposed to represent Japan, so it makes sense that Nami's birthplace is going to be really important later on. I feel like and when you look at where Tokyo Reverse Kingdom is, it's right next to Reverse Mountain, like in the East Blue. I'm pretty sure it's in the East Blue, and it's right next to the red line. It's so crazy. But yeah, I did know that because I have the Nami video getting ready. Doji is blunder or mistake. Just Googled it. Ooh, wait. Are we about to make an Ashura Doji conspiracy theory? Since it kind of kingdom, so it must have been pretty. Yep. And it was destroyed. And it was destroyed. Curry time. I don't know. This is where Kurozumi would want to go. Yeah. We might have just created a video on the end part of this Voice of All Things thing. Okay, so that being said, we'll close off the thing. We'll get the watch party started. What I'm gonna do, and the other reason I'm doing this is so that I can quickly get the video up on the VODs channel, because I'm gonna take it down off of here, off my main channel, so it doesn't kill my algo. And yeah, so I'm gonna end it, but if you're in the YouTube, come over to Twitch, follow me on Twitch. I can't do the watch party on Twitch for a lot of reasons, so apologies if you don't have a Twitch. But if you want to watch the watch party with me, come through. So I'm going to end the stream, and I'm going to restart it. But stick around. I'll be back in a second once I get a few things fixed up. So see you guys in a second. Thank you again for listening to the Voice of All Things. We'll be back again next week. Later, guys. Oh, also, like, share, and subscribe my videos. Share the Parvision, that kind of thing. Content creator, things I should remember to say. Also watch my Shadows video. A lot of fun. A lot of good. The Toon Force created the Void Century. Really relevant. Hon, is there other things? The chat's always reminding me to be a content creator. and yeah. Again, thank you for coming through to the stream. Really appreciate it. Thank you for the chats. Thank you for the subs. Thank you for the donations, the bits. Really appreciate it. Later, guys.